हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू लुकमान आईएएस। स्टैम्पेड एट महाकुंभ, जो भगदड़ मची थी प्रयागराज में 29 ऑफ जनवरी, तो उससे रिलेटेड हम ये डिस्कशन लेने वाले हैं, एक ब्रीफ डिस्कशन। स्टैम्पेड जो क्राउड मैनेजमेंट से रिलेटेड है और यूपीएससी एग्जामिनेशन में मेंस जो एग्जाम है उसमें डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट में मैन मेड डिजास्टर्स के लिए भी इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो पहले हम समझ के लेते हैं कि ये भगदड़ क्यों मची थी। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड what had happened there. So on 29th of January there was मौनी अमावस्या। मौनी अमावस्या क्या होती है और उसी दिन इतने सारे लोग जो है त्रिवेणी संगम पे प्रयागराज में क्यों जमा हो गए? तो let's try to understand that. मौनी अमावस्या is the new moon night of Hindu month Magh. Okay, on this day both sun and moon are on the same rashi of Makar, that is Capricorn, which makes it astrologically significant. और इसी रीजन की वजह से वहां पर बहुत सारे लोग जो है स्नान लेने के लिए आए थे। मौन मीन्स साइलेंस एंड मौनी अमावस्या इट इज बिलीव्ड दैट ऑब्जर्विंग साइलेंस एट लीस्ट टिल बिफोर वन टेक्स द बाथ इज बेनिफिशियल। According to Hindu religious beliefs, taking ritual bath in the river on Mauni Amavasya washes away one's sins, and that's why so many people came on the same day to take a bath in Triveni Sangam, or where we can see that Yamuna and Ganga river, they are meeting with each other at Prayagraj. Now, let's try to understand in general in India what were the recent instances in past, because UPSC is asking such kind of specific question. We mentioned recent 3 instances, 4 instances of such disasters. So especially religious let's say festivities or we can say gatherings, why these are prone to such kind of let's say stampedes. Let's try to understand in past where such kind of instances have happened. Look at this. In 2024 you may have followed this Bhole Baba Narayan Sakar Hari. So there was a satsang arranged in Uttar Pradesh Hathras where more than 100 people had died, especially more than 90 women and children had died in that particular incident. You can mention that as a recent one. In 2022, 1st January, Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine in Jammu and Kashmir. So it was triggered by heavy rush of devotees there and at least 12 people died. October 3rd, 2014, Gandhi Maidan, Patna, after Dashera celebrations. So there were 32 people died in that stampede. Now, it's not only limited to northern states. Such kind of stampedes have been also observed in the southern states. Like for example, in Kerala, Sabrimala devotees, Idukki district of Kerala, at least 104 people had died in 2011. So that means it is common everywhere in India. Now let's try to understand the reasons behind such kind of let's say stampedes happening. And it's not only the religious gathering but different places. Like if you talk about Upahar, let's say fire tragedy that had happened. So there was a stampede in that let's say Upahar cinema hall in Delhi. The same things happened, like for example the kind of let's say stampede had happened in Morbi let's say bridge collapse that had happened, or Elphinstone bridge let's say stampede in Mumbai. So I'm telling you few instances. Now let's try to understand causes and triggers for crowd disaster. So let's try to understand this, and we have taken this from NDMA website, National Disaster Management Authority website, where they are providing specific guidelines in 2014 related to crowd management. So they have categorized all the causes and triggers into 6 we can say categories. One, first, structural. Now structural causes, let's try to understand what are the causes. Collapse of temporary or makeshift structures. For example, we are talking about Now many times in such kind of gatherings there are temporary structures. जैसे आप यूपी में ही देखिए, एक जगह पे कोई एक let's say religious gathering था, 2 दिन पहले की न्यूज़ है, और वहां पर क्या हो गया, एक makeshift stage बना हुआ था that collapsed, और उसमें 8-10 लोग मर गए। ठीक है, सेम we can say place, we can say उत्तर प्रदेश में प्रयागराज में। Now narrow streets and stairs. Now many times what happens is when the narrow streets are there or stairs, so what happens is a large gathering, let's say number of people are crossing that narrow street. So that becomes, we can say, one of the vulnerable point. Then few entry and exit points at that mass gathering. Now because of that also what happens is so many people are entering at one particular entry or exiting from one small exit. Absence of emergency exists. So suppose any one particular exit is there and because of certain problem that exit is closed or it is not opening, there is need of emergency exist. Or if suppose there is a fire incident at the gathering, so because of that there is need of emergency exist, but there is lack of emergency exists at many places. Then difficult terrain, like for example religious places like Char Dham Yatra in Uttarakhand or the Vaishno Devi temple, so they have difficult terrain and that's why they have muddy paths or narrow we can say paths, and then there is valley. So in such kind of situation what happens is people tend to protect their life, and that's why such kind of, let's say, stampedes happen. Structural causes. Then fire and electricity, one of the major, for example fire accident that had happened in Upahar, we can say cinema hall in Delhi. So that fire accident, or at many places what happens is the fire incident result into a panic, and that result into, we can say, the crowd moving in different directions. That leads to stampede. Okay, so fire in makeshift or illegal structures, non-availability of fire extinguishers, or they are defunct fire extinguishers in different places. Then a violation of building codes and fire codes by the organizers, panic and trigger due to electricity supply failure or even short circuit. So that result into, we can say, stampedes. Now third is crowd control. Okay, so this is not crown, this is crowd control. Okay, crowd control. Now what happens is when the organizers or those who are responsible for management of that let's say gathering, they are not able to control the crowd. Reasons: more than anticipated crowd comes. जैसे कोई एक हीरो आने वाला है तो, या फिर कोई एक रिलीजियस गुरु है, उनका preaching है समझो, या फिर वहां पे सत्संग है. So what happens? More number of people comes. उन्होंने शायद 1 लाख लोग anticipate किया तो वहां पे 2 लाख लोग आ गए. Now this is what happens in such kind of, like this incident, and Mahakumbh is also, we can say, considered same. And at the same time we can say the crowd control and the crowd management practices, they need some kind of improvement there. Sudden opening of entry door. ठीक है, जैसे कि बहुत सारे लोग बाहर रुके हुए हैं अंदर जाने के लिए, कोई एक पर्टिकुलर लेट्स से गैदरिंग है या फिर रिलीजियस गैदरिंग है या फिर कोई एक फेयर है. So there suddenly opening of entry door result into, we can say, stampede like situation. Reliance on only one major exit, that also leads to problem because all the crowd is channelized through that one exit. Lack of sectoral partition to segregate the crowd. So what happens is all crowd is in the same place. There is no sectoral segregation, and that's why crowd control is inefficient. Now third one, crowd behavior. Now the crowd itself is not responsible many a times. What happens is wild rush towards entry and exit points. So many a times what happens is people want to immediately get the front rows. तो इसलिए क्या करते हैं, वो भागते हुए फ्रंट रोज में जाके बैठना चाहते हैं ताकि वो जो भी गुरु को मिलने आए हैं उनको दर्शन ठीक से कर पाए, उनका ऑटोग्राफ ले पाए, जो भी है, ठीक है, जो सेलिब्रिटीज को मिलने आए, or to take the pictures and all these things. Then announcement of entry of celebrity. Now when the organizer announces the entry of any celebrity or religious guru, the crowd is suddenly looking for that person, all the crowd, and they want to see that person. They want to, let's say, take photographs, or they want to take the blessings of that guru. So they will try to rush towards the stage, towards the place where that person is coming from. That leads to, we can say, stampede like. Then rumors. This is what happens most of the time. Like Elphinstone's bridge in Mumbai. So what had happened there were rumors that the railings have failed. So all the people started moving away from that particular bridge towards the platform. So basically what happens is rumors is let's say spreading like wildfires in that crowd, and that result into people getting in panic mode. Now free distribution of food, gifts, cash. So that is also one of the, we can say, factor that people wants to get freebies. तो वहां पर क्या हो जाता है, भगदड़ मच जाती है. Then anxious and angry crowd. तो बहुत देर से समझो सेलिब्रिटी आ ही नहीं रहा है. So the crowd get anxious. They get angry also. If the crowd is not getting what they have paid for, suppose एक कोई music event है, live show है. If they are, let's say, not getting what they have paid for, then they become anxious, they become angry. And many times certain people are unruly and irresponsible within that crowd. And they may do some kind of antisocial activities like rumors, hatred spread or something like that. Then last minute announcement of change in the platform of train on we can say major train stations. What happens is huge number of people are traveling through trains, and if suppose last moment change of platform happens, all the people traveling in that train will move we can say in a faster manner from one place to other place, and that may result into stampede like situation. Security factors, then insufficient security personnel, CCTV surveillance, that may result into ineffective crowd control, or we can say that stampede like situation. Absence of a public announcement system at place, so that becomes problem, because when we have such kind of public announcement system, then the organizers can continuously speak to the people, try to assuage their feelings, and we can say calm them down. Security personnel firing or using force, that may also result into we can say stampede like situation. Now fights within the crowds or group of crowds, that becomes also a problem. Now lastly, lack of coordination, a gap between government agencies and organizers. The government agencies like civic agencies, civil administration in the district like DM or PWD, or we can say that even the district hospital, they needs to be communicated that this much amount of crowd is coming. In case of any untoward event, they needs to be addressed. Along with that, there is need of communication with the police personnel. Police department is also very important. Then communication delays. Once the untoward event happened, then the communication happens, that becomes problem. So the response is ineffective in such kind of situation. The haphazard response is happening. Now, how to have effective crowd management strategies? It is taken from the same document, NDMA document. Now, let's try to understand what happens there and how to have the effective crowd management. So, let's say the panic or excitement, the reasons here, structural failure, human error, natural calamity, like let's say huge amount of rainfall is happening or something like that. Attendance level, so or action by the performer, improper arrangements, these can be the factors. Now, the evacuation or crowding, further panic after that excitement, and then there is overcrowding. The overcrowding result into crush disaster or suffocation, or overcrowding result into high desired velocity and trample disaster. These are some of the, let's say, consequences. Now, in such situation, we need to understand the circumstances, and that we called as FIST model. FIST matlab kya hai? Force, information, space and time. So this thing can be applied here in crowd management. So first of all, the capacity planning for the organizers. So how much amount, let's say, number of crowd is anticipated, that needs to be identified. Then the infrastructure at the place for the organization of such kind of gathering. Then understanding the crowd behavior. What type of crowd is going to be coming there? Like if suppose there is a music show, live show in the urban area, generally unruly behavior will not be witnessed. But if you see any kind of, let's say, religious gathering or political rallies, somehow there can be, let's say, such antisocial elements, the political rivalries, all these things work out there. Then crowd disaster process, FIST model, that's what I was telling you. This is the process, and we have to identify the circumstances. What are the forces or the factors? We can say that. Then information. So information communication is also very important. So how many people are present, and we need to communicate that to civil administration and the police department. Then the space management, the space, whether adequate space is available for the people, and segregation, women and men, children, old age people, so management of space. And then the time. So time is also very important factor here. Why? Because if suppose there is delay in the start of program, then that there can be, we can say, the problem, the crowd can get anxious, Then along with that, the staggered entry and exit points. So there you can talk about, we can say other factors like crowd control. So crowd control, you can talk about, continuously talk to the people through public announcement system. And then I told you the staggered entry points and exit points. This is how the crowd control. Then CCTV surveillance should be there. Unified control system. Here we can say that all the stakeholders should be collaborating with each other, and there should be one designated agency or the let's say group of people who are basically communicating to all. Unified control system. Then risk analysis and preparedness. Before the event, there should be risk analysis, planning, and then accordingly what steps should be taken, that thing should be done. There should be mock drill also before the event. Then safety and security measures. Just now I told you that there should be the fire, let's say the extinguishers in place, and the fire department should be intimated about the timing of the let's say gathering. Then thereafter there should be security measures, adequate security personnel, CCTV camera and monitoring of the crowd behavior. Emergency medical services, there should be 2-3 ambulances in place if suppose according to number of crowd people there. Then traffic management should be also there. Emergency medical services, local district hospital or local hospital should be intimated that there is going to be such event, and in case of such kind of happenings happen, then you should be ready. Traffic management, so traffic department should be intimated so that they take necessary measures here. Okay, so these are the crowd management strategies, and we are expecting question in GS3 paper also. And such kind of, let's say, disasters keeps on happening, and that's why there is need of the effective crowd management practices. The way things happened in Prayagraj, it is being said that promotion of VIP culture and weak monitoring, and we can say that arrangements and lack of anticipation of the crowd at the particular place, these things should be avoided. All right, fine. If you have any question, do comment in the video and we will reach out to you. Thank you.